Imagine you're floating down a literal river of time, but, the water isn't actually water at all.
Right.
Every single drop that's flowing past you is a human soul, like a glowing, digitized memory lantern.
Yeah, millions of them.
Exactly, millions. And they're all being violently dragged by this current toward a massive cosmic ritual. And this ritual is designed to actively edit the memory of the multiverse itself.
Just a staggering image, isn't it? I mean, terrifying, really. We usually think of history as, a fixed foundation, like a settled anchor.
Right, something that already happened.
Exactly. But in this scenario, the past is entirely fluid. It's a historical landscape that's been weaponized, basically turned into an absolute cosmic editing room.
And that is exactly the premise we're exploring today on this deep dive. We've gathered excerpts from the epic progression fantasy, Defiance of the Fall 16. And, our mission isn't just to talk about another story with magic and monsters.
No, definitely not.
We are breaking down a really mind-bending exploration of how memory, time, and causality can be used as, tools of war. You're here because you want to grasp these massive, complex ideas without, getting bogged down in some giant encyclopedia of lore.
Right. Jumping straight into the deep end.
Yeah, so let's jump straight into that river of time because our protagonist, Zach, is currently completely helpless in it.
Helpless is honestly an understatement. I mean, Zach is locked in this state of suspended animation. He's partially frozen in draconic ice.
Which sounds wild.
It really is. In this universe, warriors evolve through this process called cultivation, right? They absorb cosmic energy to force an evolutionary leap.
Basically leveling up.
Yeah, leveling up, but with extreme physical danger. Zach is attempting this desperate cultivation breakthrough. And to survive the volatile energy, he's basically turned his undead Draugr form body into a floating glacier.
A floating glacier drifting down the river of time.
Exactly. He's adrift in a tributary of the grand tapestry of time, and he's leaving the navigation entirely to his companion, Esmeralda.
Which is a massive problem because Esmeralda, who is normally this ancient, terrifyingly powerful entity, is currently cursed. She's trapped inside the body of a giant warty toad.
Yeah, not her best look.
Not at all. And she's panicking, She's navigating this stream filled with those soul lanterns we just mentioned, and these glowing motes of light. They contain the memories, the faith, and, the fates of ancient citizens from this long-lost civilization.
Right, the limitless empire.
Yeah.
And Esmeralda realizes all these millions of lanterns are being systematically sorted. The flow of time itself is crashing against this timeline-defying continent in the distance.
But the river is just smashing into it.
Diving into it, yeah. But it can't wash the landmass away. It's too anchored. But to figure out what this continent actually is, Esmeralda has to overcome the blinding light of the lanterns and, the timeline's natural resistance to her snooping around.
And her solution is just brutal. I mean, she uses this forbidden ocular power, literally destroying her own eyes to force a glimpse of their destination.
Oh, yeah. The text describes cracks spreading from her bleeding sockets across her entire cursed toad body.
Yeah.
But the sacrifice works. She sees that the continent is actually a colossal, scarred altar.
Right, and it's chained down.
Exactly, by 17 cosmic chains, 7 of which are already snapped, by the way.
Yeah.
And sitting on top of this altar is a mysterious chalice surrounded by 9 unlit candles.
And those 9 candles correspond directly to 9 rivulets, right? The memory lanterns are being forcefully routed into these specific streams. It's this incomprehensibly massive sorting mechanism.
That's exactly it.
So, let me try to put this in perspective for the learner. It's less like looking at a mystical river and more like stumbling onto a multiversal crypto mining farm.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, but instead of burning electricity to mine digital coins, this dead emperor is burning digitized human lives, running their memories through a specific processor to power this altar.
That analogy hits the underlying mechanics perfectly. It really is a cosmic farm. So Esmeralda spots this specific, highly radiant memory lantern that holds a crucial clue she needs. She extends her toad tongue, desperately trying to snatch it out of the current.
But she can't, right, because of her status.
Right. Because she lacks the official status of a trial taker in this domain, her powers just phased right through it. The lantern is drifting away.
And even though Zach is, encased in ice, deep in this coma-like state, he somehow hears her screaming for help.
Yeah, his subconscious kicks in.
Right. His frozen body alters course, accelerates, and he just slams face first into that radiant lantern. He absorbs it directly into his forehead, and that impact rips our perspective completely out of the macrocosmic river and just, boom, slams us directly into a gritty first-person memory.
It was a total sensory shock. We are immediately plunged into the heart of the Limitless Empire's ancient past. Zach's consciousness merges with the originator of that specific memory lantern.
A woman named Teria Wendemar, right?
Exactly. And he isn't just watching her life on a screen, he's experiencing it from behind her eyes. Her will, her panic, her environment, they all become his reality.
And they find themselves in the Pangonian wilds, which is this visually striking, endless sea of orange foliage. But Zach doesn't even have time to look around because he's instantly dropped into the middle of a brutal military siege.
Chaos everywhere.
Yeah, they're trapped inside Base Pango, which is an imperial military outpost commanded by Teria's father, Crispin Wendemar.
And, to understand why this base is under siege, we have to look at the mechanics of how the Limitless Empire actually operates.
Right.
The Empire built these massive installations or nodes across the multiverse to project their power. But the multiverse's governing magical framework, often referred to simply as the system, well, it demands balance.
But the Empire doesn't care about balance.
Exactly. Their technology ignores that balance. It requires absolutely pure spiritual energy to function.
Which means they have to get rid of the impurities.
Yeah.
They filter out what they call earthly taint and they literally just dump it straight into the surrounding environment.
A massive ecological disaster.
Yeah. Over millennia, this industrial pollution has completely twisted and corrupted the local ecosystem.
And the fallout is devastating. The local forest nymphs, the mutated beasts, the solitary spirits of the wild creatures that would normally be hunting each other,
Yeah.
They've all united under this banner of pure apocalyptic rage. They are launching a massive tide against Base Pango to slaughter the colonizers and stop the plight.
I gotta be honest, I'm struggling to feel bad for Crispin here. I mean, wait, he's literally the architect of a machine that is polluting the earth to death. Aren't the beasts technically the good guys here? Like, just defending their home from a toxic colonizer?
Yeah, it's a completely fair point.
So why are we supposed to view Crispin's defense of this base as heroic?
That moral dissonance is entirely intentional. I mean, the text doesn't shy away from the fact that the Limitless Empire is a destructive colonial force. Crispin is undeniably a cog in an oppressive machine.
Right.
But, in the micro context of this specific memory, Crispin isn't fighting for the Emperor's glory. He's fighting because his daughter, Teria, is in the middle of a critical cultivation breakthrough deep inside the base.
Oh, right. Because if a cultivator is interrupted while absorbing that much cosmic energy, the backlash will, either cripple them permanently or kill them instantly.
Exactly the stakes. And the main Imperial military force has already abandoned the base. Crispin is a formation master.
And he builds defenses.
Yeah, his expertise is in arrays and defensive shields, not hand-to-hand combat. And he's standing entirely alone against millions of enraged beasts. We see him systematically give up everything. When the base's natural energy reserves fail, he starts powering the defensive shields with his own soul.
The mechanics of that sacrifice are wild. Cultivators in this universe, they actually build a physical pocket dimension inside their own soul called an inner world.
Yeah, it's foundational to who they are.
And Crispin is physically cannibalizing that mass. He is tearing chunks off the bedrock of his own soul, converting fundamental reality into raw defensive energy, just to keep the shield up for a few more minutes.
It is a profound, agonizing conversion of life into time. But eventually, the shield cracks. A massive mutated root impales Crispin right at the exact moment Teria finally emerges from her breakthrough chamber.
Talk about terrible timing.
Yeah. Zach, who's hitching a ride in her consciousness, feels this overwhelming white-hot rage radiating from her.
And Zach doesn't fight it. He seamlessly merges his own modern combat power with Teria's ancient cultivation. And together they just unleash a horrific rain of burning axes, absolutely slaughtering the beasts that breach the courtyard.
It's an incredible fight scene.
But they're too late, right? The breach is temporarily clear, but the endless beast tide outside is surging forward again, and Crispin is bleeding out.
He is. And what makes Crispin's final moment so compelling is his absolute lack of fear. With seconds left, he presses the Wendemar clan seal into Teria's hand.
That's an important item.
Very. It's an ancient token that holds a limitless merit, which is a highly coveted boon from the Empire. He tells her she is the future of their fallen clan. Then, in his ultimate act as a father, Chris Vaughn ignites his dying inner world like a supernova.
Wow.
He detonates himself outside the base's sealed spatial domain just to blast open a tear in reality.
He literally turns his own death into a teleportation rune. He throws his daughter through the tear, and the memory abruptly ends. It's an incredibly heavy emotional sequence.
It really is.
But the aftermath is what completely shattered my understanding of this universe. Because Zack wakes up, he's out of the ice, physically deposited onto a trial ground that perfectly resembles the Pangonian wilds. And when he opens his hand, he is holding the physical Wendemar clan seal.
An object from a memory is now a tangible artifact in his palm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it goes further. The seal resonates and a spirit emerges. An older, transcendent version of Taria Wendemar. She looks directly at Zack, thanks him for giving her the chance to say goodbye to her father, and her soul light permanently brands Zack's hand with the seal of the left Imperial Palace.
Okay, wait, stop right there. This is where it gets really mind-bending. If he walked out of a memory with a physical object and changed Taria's history so she could say goodbye, did Zack just literally time travel?
It sure seems like it, right?
Because standard sci-fi rules dictate that if you step on a butterfly in the past, the universe unravels. If the original true history was that Taria didn't wake up in time to fight alongside her father, wouldn't saving her cause a massive cosmic paradox?
That is the logical assumption, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Esmeralda's analysis of the situation reveals something far more insidious. Zack did not time travel in the traditional sense.
So he didn't.
No. He didn't physically insert himself into the established historical timeline. If he had, the universe's baseline reality would have violently corrected the paradox by erasing him from existence to protect its own causality.
Wait, if he didn't physically travel back in time, the universe's baseline reality must be, like, malleable. Are you saying Emperor Limitless is basically gaslighting the multiverse into a new reality?
Yeah, that is a phenomenal way to frame it. Think of the multiverse as having a collective consciousness, a consensus of what happened.
Okay.
Emperor Limitless isn't fighting a war of physics. He's fighting a war of consensus. The memory lantern Zack absorbed wasn't a static video recording. It was an immortalized, interactive fragment of that collective consensus, kept alive by residual Imperial faith.
Ah, I see. So by entering that memory and acting differently, Zack resolved Taria's regrets. He gave her the closure she never experienced in the quote-unquote real timeline.
Exactly. And this is the core mechanic of the Emperor's entire plan. By providing that closure, Zack created a theoretical timeline within the memory.
A what-if scenario.
Right. In this alternate what-if, Taria doesn't suffer the trauma of missing her father's final words. Because she isn't weighed down by those mental demons, her theoretical potential is vastly higher. And that increase in potential generates an immense amount of pure Imperial destiny.
I need to highlight this for you, learner, because this is the ultimate magic trick. Imperial destiny isn't a metaphor here. It is literally fueled by the collective belief and potential of a civilization.
Tangible energy.
Yes, tangible. By removing Taria's trauma, her potential output of faith increases. And that differential, that newly generated fuel from a theoretical timeline, is physical power.
Precisely. Emperor Limitless is harvesting the what-ifs of his dead citizens. He's using trial takers like Zack as a massive multiversal farm to resolve these ancient regrets, all just to generate raw Imperial destiny.
And that destiny flows directly down those 9 rivulets to light the candles and fill the chalice on that cosmic altar we saw earlier.
Brilliant.
The sheer scale of that arrogance is breathtaking. He is manipulating warriors into doing free therapy for ghosts just to generate enough cosmic juice to power his mysterious contingency plan.
It is weaponized nostalgia. It really is. But, having deduced the terrifying mechanics of the Emperor's grand design, Zack's immediate problem is surviving the physical reality he's been dropped into.
Right, because he's not in the memory anymore.
No, he's out. He's standing in a localized time capsule. This system has perfectly preserved a massive chunk of the ancient Limitless Empire as a physical trial ground.
And it is completely jarring. Zack immediately notices that the ambient laws of reality, what cultivators call the Tao, feel incredibly dense, primordial, and untamed.
But also highly toxic by modern standards.
Yeah, very toxic. Modern cultivators rely on the system to provide perfectly filtered, pure cosmic energy. But this time capsule reflects the flawed ancient reality. The air is thick with that discarded earthly taint we discussed earlier.
Right, the pollution.
Exactly. There are even streaks of corrupted Tao radiating from whatever is hidden inside the chalice. It's a land where power is abundant, but absorbing it without filtering it will slowly mutate and destroy you.
And because the ancient Tao is so thick with this discarded taint, the creatures that mutated to survive in it are fundamentally different. And they are deeply hostile to the imperial faith Zack now carries on his hand.
Oh, they can smell it on him.
Yeah. The second Zack gets his bearings, the orange leaves on the trees darken. They start radiating malevolence, and then the ground itself heaves.
He wakes up a monster.
Zack immediately uses a movement skill to escape, suppressing his aura. And as he flees, he senses what he disturbed. An arm rises from the subterranean depths, and it is over 500 meters long.
A literal skyscraper made of flesh. And it doesn't just have 5 fingers, right? The text describes a hand with over 100 jointed fingers bending at impossible angles.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, they act like a horrifying radar array, scanning the ground and the sky, emitting a physical torchlight of pure hatred, just searching for the scent of the Empire.
It's a brilliant narrative consequence. The beasts of the Pangonian wilds haven't forgotten the Empire's ecological destruction. They're still here, frozen in time, waiting to tear apart anything carrying that imperial taint.
So it's basically Metal Gear Solid now.
Yeah, it forces Zack into a game of absolute stealth as he reunites with Esmeralda.
And while Zack was recovering from the memory, Esmeralda actually managed to do some scouting. She brings him a recording crystal, showing a discovery that completely upends their expectations. Amidst this hostile, toxic forest, she has found a city.
But it isn't ruins.
No, it is utterly pristine.
The visual contrast is stunning. It's a massive, bustling city floating in the middle of a vast chasm. Its foundation is the mountain-sized skull of an ancient beast, and the entire metropolis is suspended by 9 indomitable chains stretching out to the chasm's edges.
But there's a massive catch. Esmeralda tried to scout it, and she physically couldn't interact with it. She almost fell right through the chains into the abyss.
So it's an illusion.
Not exactly. It's not a physical place you can just walk into. Zack deduces that it is a city of memories. Just as he interacted with the micro-projection of Turia's lantern, this city is a macro projection. It's held together by the residual imperial faith of millions. It exists in the open, but it's entirely out of phase with the physical trial ground.
Oh, wow. Which means this city is essentially a cosmic cryptocurrency.
Exactly.
It isn't backed by physical stone or steel. It's backed purely by the collective belief of a dead empire. It only exists because the ancient system agreed it has value.
That is the perfect way to put it. You can see the merchants in the architecture, but it's a hologram powered by faith, which raises a massive logistical nightmare for Zack and Esmeralda. I mean, how do you loot a conceptual city?
Yeah, you can't just pick up a conceptual sword.
Right. They know the rewards they need are locked inside that faith-based architecture. They have the imperial brand on Zack's hand. They understand the theoretical mechanics, but now they have to figure out the specific rules of engagement to phase into that city.
All while avoiding a 500-meter radar hand trying to squash them.
Exactly. It beautifully sets the stage for the rest of their survival trial. They have to master the mechanics of memory to manipulate physical reality.
It's such a cool concept.
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive, learner, let's bring these massive cosmic concepts back down to Earth for a minute. Obviously, we don't live in a universe governed by cultivation mechanics.
And you aren't fighting off beast tides to protect array formations.
Thankfully, no. But the core mechanism we've discussed today is profoundly relevant. Think about the memory lanterns of your own life, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, about our past traumas, about our successes and our failures.
Yeah, the internal narrative.
Right. The narrative of defiance of the fall externalizes a very real psychological truth. The memory of our past directly dictates our power and destiny in the present. If you constantly relitigate a memory where you failed, letting the trauma define you, well, you limit your present potential.
You're stuck in the bad timeline.
Exactly. But if you can find a way to resolve those regrets, if you can alter your relationship with your own memory, you generate new strength.
You increase your own theoretical potential. I love that. We are all the editors of our own historical consensus. We dictate which futures we build based on the specific memories we choose to give power to.
Well said. We harvest our own destiny. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought for you to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Let's hear it.
If human reality truly is just a consensus of memories, as Emperor Limitless so ruthlessly exploits, What happens to the concept of truth when an entity powerful enough, whether that's a cosmic emperor, a tech algorithm, or a government, decides to simply edit the consensus? If you can successfully change society's memory of the foundation, did the original building ever really exist at all? Keep that in mind the next time someone tells you exactly how the past used to be. Until next time.